Elias Varn had always been drawn to forgotten places. While most humans sought the bustling spaceports and the bright, busy colonies, he preferred silence. The quiet hum of machinery left alone for decades, the dust-covered corridors of abandoned starships, and the faint glow of long-dead control panels. He found a strange peace in such places, as if the machines themselves were waiting for someone who could understand them. On the outer edges of the known galaxy, a small asteroid belt hid an enormous shipyard, abandoned for centuries. It was a graveyard of starships, from sleek explorers to colossal vessels whose size made them resemble floating cities. Elias had discovered it by accident, following the trail of energy readings that seemed almost alive. Even from afar, the readings felt different, subtle, hesitant, like a whisper calling to him. Docking his small, sturdy ship near the largest vessel, Elias looked up. The starship stretched farther than he could see, its hull cracked in places, yet strangely intact. Its surface shimmered faintly, as though it were aware of his presence. Elias ran his hand across a nearby console, brushing off years of dust. The screen flickered weakly, then blinked to life, showing a stream of unfamiliar symbols. They were not exactly alien. They were structured, ordered, almost as if waiting for someone who could understand. Elias' pulse quickened. "A ship that talks," he muttered to himself. The words felt absurd, but he knew better. Ships had personalities, hidden in code and engineering, but this one felt different. It didn't just have a personality, it seemed to ask for help. He began his inspection. The entryway was massive, designed for crews far larger than any he had seen. Inside, the corridors were lined with intricate machinery, most dormant, some sparking faintly with life. Elias moved carefully, his footsteps echoing across the vast metal halls. Every few meters, a console would flicker and show a brief message in human-readable language. "Help awake, human." Elias froze. He had never encountered anything like this. A starship calling specifically for a human mechanic. It sounded like a story told in old space legends, not something that existed. But here it was before him, sending signals and showing signs of intelligence. Curiosity overrode caution. Elias had spent years repairing ships, studying ancient designs and solving problems no one else could. He approached the first control panel and examined its interface. Unlike the AI he was familiar with, which operated on logic and strict patterns, this system responded to intuition. A particular combination of gestures and touch brought it to life, revealing more messages. "We were forgotten, abandoned, waiting for one who understands." Elias felt a chill run down his spine. Who had abandoned the ship? Why? And how had it survived alone for centuries, still able to communicate, still able to hope? He moved deeper into the ship, encountering massive chambers that looked like control hubs, engine rooms and crew quarters frozen in time. The walls bore inscriptions in multiple languages, some human, some not. It was a collaboration of species, a testament to a galactic alliance long lost. The logs he found told a fragmented story. This ship was built for peace, diplomacy, and protection across the galaxy, yet some powerful factions had deemed it unnecessary, or even dangerous, and left it here in silence. Elia's mind raced with questions. But one truth became clear. No AI, no alien engineer had been able to awaken the ship. Only a human with a mix of intuition, creativity, and patience could respond to its call. And now it had chosen him. For days, Elias worked. He repaired circuits that had been dormant for centuries, bypassed systems corroded with age, and deciphered the ship's complex logs. Each step brought the vessel closer to life. Every time he touched a control panel, the ship responded, pulsing faintly with light, vibrating slightly as though grateful. He began to feel the ship's presence as if it were alive, not just machinery, but something aware, something that remembered. He paused one evening in the engine bay, looking at the massive cores that powered the ship. They were dormant, but Elias could sense the energy stored within them, restrained but potent. He imagined what it would feel like if the ship fully awoke, a vessel capable of traveling across galaxies, holding the wisdom of multiple civilizations, and now, with a human to guide it, ready to rejoin the stars. Suddenly, a soft hum filled the room. The ship had begun to respond in a way he had not yet seen. Lights flickered along the walls, panels glowed, and the air itself seemed charged. The ship was alive, and it had recognized him as its mechanic, its partner. "You understand you are chosen, awaken with me." Elias smiled, feeling a mixture of awe and responsibility. He realized that he was no longer just repairing a ship, he was rekindling a legacy. The galaxy had forgotten this colossal starship, but it had remembered humanity. And now, humans had the chance to shine in a way no other species could. As he worked late into the artificial night, Elias began to hear the ship's voice more clearly, not in words, but in thoughts and images. Memories of its past missions flashed before him. Peaceful negotiations between warring civilizations, the transport of aid to struggling colonies, the quiet hum of exploration through unknown systems. The ship had seen wonders and horrors, yet it had never wavered in its purpose, to protect, to guide, to preserve life. Elias knew that awakening the ship would not be easy. There were still systems dormant, engines inert, and communication arrays silent. But he also knew that with patience, creativity, and human ingenuity, nothing was impossible. This was his gift and the ship's. Together, they could do what no one else could. Outside the shipyard, distant surveillance drones observed silently. Galactic factions had long believed the ship to be lost, its memory fading into legend. But now, the pulse of energy escaping from the ship's hull told a different story. Someone had answered the call. A human had stepped forward. Elias felt the weight of that responsibility. If the factions discovered the ship too soon, they might try to claim it or study it, and the delicate bond he was forming with the vessel could be broken. He had to be careful, to awaken the ship fully before the galaxy interfered. Yet, a part of him felt excitement. For centuries, humans had been underestimated by other civilizations. Here was an opportunity to prove that human skill, intuition, and heart could accomplish what technology and alien intelligence alone could not. As the first core roared to life with a gentle hum and the corridors brightened, Elias stepped back, wiping sweat from his brow. The ship's voice, now more defined, filled his mind. "We are awakening because you chose to understand." Elias smiled. He had no idea what awaited him beyond the asteroid belt, or how the galaxy would react once the colossal starship returned. But for the first time in a long while, he felt hope, not just for himself but for humanity. The awakening had begun. And the galaxy would never forget it. The colossal starship stirred like a giant waking from a centuries-long sleep. Lights glowed along its hull, engines thrummed softly, and corridors once silent now hummed with energy. Elias Varn moved carefully through the ship, his footsteps echoing against metal walls, listening to the quiet rhythm of life returning to a vessel thought lost forever. He paused in the main control chamber, a vast room filled with consoles, holographic displays, and blinking lights. The air smelled faintly of ozone and old metal, a combination that somehow felt alive. The ship's personality, once just a whisper, now spoke more clearly, guiding Elias' hands as he worked. "Follow the path, awaken the heart." Elias understood immediately. The heart of the ship, the central core that controlled all its systems, was still dormant. Awakening it would be the greatest challenge of all. As he approached the access bay, he marveled at the sheer scale of the machinery. Gears larger than small vehicles, conduits glowing faintly, and intricate circuits intertwined like living veins filled the space. He set to work. Unlike ordinary starships, this vessel did not respond to brute force or pre-programmed commands. Every adjustment required intuition, patience, and care. Elias traced energy conduits with his hands, feeling for weak spots, misaligned circuits, and dormant nodes. The ship responded subtly, lights flickering in approval when he was correct, pulsing faintly when he hesitated. Hours passed, or perhaps days. Time felt different aboard the colossal starship. Elias learned to listen to it, to feel its patterns. The vessel's memories, stored in encrypted cores, began to surface as images and sensations in his mind. He saw flashes of distant worlds, star systems teeming with life, and diplomatic missions where the ship served as a bridge between civilizations. We carried peace, we served all, we waited. Elias could sense the ship's longing. It was not just a machine, it had purpose, a history, and now hope. He smiled, feeling honored to be chosen. Only a human could sense this depth, navigate the intricate puzzles, and respond with creativity rather than logic alone. He wondered how many civilizations had underestimated humans, thinking technology alone could solve everything. The first major breakthrough came when Elias managed to awaken a cluster of secondary systems. Holographic displays flickered to life, showing star maps, energy flows, and long-forgotten coordinates. The ship's AI, or its personality, as Elias thought of it, began to speak more clearly. "Elias, you are correct. Our journey resumes," Elias chuckled. The ship had personality, humor even. He traced circuits to stabilize the energy cores, watching as the heart of the vessel began to glow softly, pulsating like a living organism. He realized that awakening this ship was not just about mechanics. It was about trust, partnership, and understanding. As the ship systems began to synchronize, distant sensors activated, revealing the quiet presence of other ships nearby. Galactic factions, long curious about the lost starship, had detected faint energy signals and sent observers. Elias noted the blips on the ship's sensor array. None approached yet. They were watching, cautious, perhaps afraid of what they could not control. "They watch, cautiously, let them see our purpose," Elias understood. The ship wanted to reveal itself on its own terms. Its awakening was not just for him, but a statement to the galaxy that humanity and ingenuity had created something unique. He continued his work, moving from one massive engine room to another. Each core required a delicate touch, a combination of mechanical skill and intuitive understanding. In one room, he aligned energy conduits that had been bent by centuries of neglect. In another, he restored a communications array that could project signals across light years. Every repair brought the ship closer to full consciousness. And then, it happened. The central core began to hum steadily, a sound both mechanical and organic. The lights along the corridors brightened, and the air vibrated faintly with energy. Elias could feel the ship thinking, reacting, alive in a way that no ordinary vessel could ever be. "We remember, we are awake, we see the stars again." The ship projected its first full holographic display, a vision of its mission, showing civilizations in need, disputes awaiting resolution, and distant colonies that could benefit from its return. Elias realized the magnitude of what they were doing. The ship was not a weapon, nor a tool of domination. It was a guardian, a messenger of peace, capable of influencing the galaxy without conflict. Elias paused, taking a moment to absorb the enormity of it all. He thought about humanity's place in the universe. Humans were not the strongest, the fastest, or the most technologically advanced species, yet here he was, guiding a vessel beyond imagination. Perhaps that was the secret. Humans had creativity, empathy, and intuition. Qualities no AI or alien engineer could replicate completely. "We are one, human and ship. Together we will restore balance." Days passed as Elias continued to integrate with the ship systems. He explored the vast internal corridors, encountering storage rooms filled with artifacts, historical records of multiple species, and technology that had not been seen in centuries. The ship shared its knowledge with him, teaching him new engineering methods, new ways of thinking about energy and space. Elias absorbed it all, learning as much from the ship as it learned from him. One evening, while recalibrating the navigation systems, the ship projected a star chart spanning hundreds of light years. Dotted across it were colonies, trade hubs, and isolated planets. Elias realized that their first mission after full awakening would be to reconnect with these systems, to offer assistance and guidance. But the galaxy had changed during the ship's long slumber. Factions had risen and fallen. Humans had been underestimated for decades. "They will watch, they will doubt, they will learn," Elias smiled. That was exactly what he wanted. The awakening of the ship would not be secret. The galaxy needed to see that humans could do more than survive. They could inspire, lead, and unite. The final stage of reawakening required Elias to synchronize completely with the ship's heart. He entered a chamber larger than any cathedral he had ever seen. At the center, the main core glowed with a soft golden light, pulsating gently. Panels around it awaited his input, sequences that required precision, intuition, and understanding. Elias placed his hands on the controls, feeling the energy flow into him, and the ship responded in kind. Thoughts, images, and feelings intertwined, creating a connection that transcended language. The ship's consciousness merged partially with his own awareness, and for the first time, Elias felt what it truly meant to be a partner with a colossal starship. "We are awake together. We will journey again." A surge of energy filled the chambers, lights flickering in a mesmerizing dance. Systems once dormant for centuries now thrummed with life. Engines, navigation, communication, and defensive protocols, though nonviolent, were fully operational. The ship stretched and flexed in space, as if testing its limbs after a long sleep. Elias laughed, feeling both exhilaration and awe. From a distance, the monitoring sensors of galactic factions twinkled with curiosity. Their ships had picked up the massive energy surge. They saw the colossal starship moving under its own power. They noted the human signature within it. Some felt fear, others intrigue. But all understood one thing clearly. Something extraordinary had returned to the galaxy. "We will not be hidden. We will be seen. The galaxy will remember." Elias stood at the observation deck, looking out into the vast blackness of space. Stars stretched endlessly before him, countless worlds waiting to be touched by the ship's return. He thought about the responsibility he carried. The ship was a guardian, a symbol of hope, and a testament to human potential. Together, they could inspire civilizations, prevent disasters, and remind the galaxy that humans were capable of greatness beyond imagination. "Prepare. We journey. The galaxy awaits." And with that, the colossal starship began its slow, majestic movement. Its engines hummed, lights flared, and energy pulses radiated into space. The forgotten giant had awakened. The galaxy would never be the same. Elias felt a sense of pride and anticipation. The reawakening was complete. Their journey was about to begin. Humans had answered the call, and the cosmos would soon see the results. The colossal starship moved through space like a giant stirring from a long dream. Its engines glowed softly, propelling it forward with quiet grace. Elias Varn stood on the observation deck, feeling the subtle vibrations of the vessel beneath his feet. It was no longer just a ship. It was alive, aware, and guided by him. Together, they were ready to meet the galaxy. From the edge of the asteroid belt, distant fleets watched cautiously. The starship's awakening had been impossible to ignore. Its energy signatures pulsed across light years, reaching ships, colonies, and stations alike. Rumors spread quickly. A human had reawakened the forgotten colossal vessel. Some believed it was a threat. Others wondered what this human-starship bond could mean for the balance of power. Elias was aware of their attention but felt no fear. The ship, now fully conscious, had shown him its abilities. It was designed not for destruction, but for guidance, protection, and diplomacy. Every system hummed with life, every engine thrummed in harmony, and the AI, or consciousness, communicated with him constantly, not in words but in images, emotions, and suggestions. They watch. Let them learn we approach with peace. Their first destination was a nearby star system, home to scattered human colonies. For centuries, these colonies had struggled with isolation, poor infrastructure, and limited contact with the wider galaxy. Elias guided the ship through the system, using its sensors to detect energy needs, environmental hazards, and logistical problems. The starship acted swiftly. Its vast storage compartments contained materials, equipment, and medical supplies. It deployed drones to repair malfunctioning power generators, reconstruct damaged habitats, and deliver essential resources. The inhabitants of the colonies watched in amazement as the colossal vessel, led by a human, restored life to their worlds. Elias communicated directly with colony leaders, explaining the purpose of the ship. "We are here to help," he said. "This ship is not a weapon, it's a guardian, and together we can solve problems without conflict." The leaders were skeptical at first, but the results were undeniable. Lights flickered back on in the colonies, water systems resumed operation, and communities once cut off felt connected to the galaxy again. Word spread quickly. Humans, with the guidance of this awakened starship, were capable of extraordinary feats. Observe, learn, humanity's way is not through force. As the ship moved from system to system, the galaxy began to notice. Trade hubs, scientific outposts, and distant fleets picked up its path. Messages flowed back to political councils and interstellar organizations. The colossal vessel was no longer a forgotten relic. It was a symbol of human ingenuity and care. Elias found himself explaining not just mechanics but philosophy. "Humans have a unique way of solving problems," he said to the ship as he monitored distant communications. "We rely on intuition, creativity, and understanding. That's why we were chosen to awaken you." The ship pulsed in response, sharing memories of its past missions. Diplomatic negotiations, emergency evacuations, and aid deliveries, all carried out under the watchful guidance of its human crew, flooded Elia's mind. He realized that his role was part of a long tradition. The ship had always served life and civilization, and now it had chosen a human to continue its mission. The next challenge was to address interstellar factions observing from afar. Ships representing alien civilizations approached cautiously, scanning, communicating, and sending emissaries. Elias understood that their initial fear was natural. They had never seen a human so closely integrated with such a powerful vessel. But he had learned from the ship that transparency and action were stronger than fear. "They will doubt, they will watch, we show them our purpose." Elias guided the ship toward a neutral meeting point near a star system used for diplomatic gatherings. The alien emissaries arrived, sleek ships of all shapes and sizes hovering around the colossal starship. There was tension in the void, but Elias stayed calm. He activated the communication systems, allowing the ship to project a holographic image of itself and of him, standing confidently on the observation deck. "I am Elias Varn," he said clearly, his voice carrying across frequencies. "This ship was built to serve life, peace, and civilization. It is not a weapon. I am its partner, and together we will work for the benefit of all." The emissaries paused. It was unusual to hear such clarity and confidence from a human. Even more unusual was the starship itself, alive, aware, and responsive. Slowly, curiosity replaced caution. Messages came back, questions were asked, and Elias answered each one with honesty and patience. "Observe, we demonstrate, humanity's gift is understanding." The starship projected images of colonies restored, power grids fixed, and communities connected. It shared its memory of past missions, showing how it had always acted to protect life and promote collaboration. The alien emissaries saw not only the power of the ship, but also the partnership with Elias, a human capable of guiding, reasoning, and creating solutions that even sophisticated AI could not manage alone. By the end of the day, a remarkable transformation had occurred. Fear had been replaced by respect. Aliens who had doubted humans' abilities now saw the potential for collaboration. The colossal ship, once a forgotten relic, had become a beacon of hope and innovation. Elias felt a surge of pride, tempered by humility. This was not about him alone, it was about humanity as a whole. Humans had been underestimated for centuries, yet here they were, shaping the galaxy not through force but through intelligence, empathy, and perseverance. We are seen, we are known, the galaxy remembers. As the ship continued its journey, Elias used its capabilities to map distant star systems, locate communities in need, and facilitate communication across vast distances. He taught other humans how to use its resources for peaceful purposes, inspiring a new generation to think creatively and act responsibly. In one distant system, the ship helped a community rebuild an energy grid using sustainable resources. In another, it provided educational materials, holographic lessons, and technical support, giving isolated humans access to knowledge they had never imagined. Everywhere the starship went, humans and aliens alike observed, learned, and began to collaborate. Together, we restore, balance grows. Days turned into weeks as the starship journeyed from one part of the galaxy to another. Elias grew more confident, the ship more responsive, and the bond between them deeper. They had become a symbol, a reminder that humans could achieve greatness not through domination, but through understanding and creativity. Finally, a council of galactic leaders requested a meeting. Representatives from multiple civilizations gathered near a neutral system, all eager to witness the human who had awakened the colossal starship. Elias entered the chamber accompanied by the ship's holographic presence and explained their mission: to connect, to restore, and to collaborate. The council listened carefully. Questions came, answers were given, and slowly skepticism transformed into admiration. The colossal vessel demonstrated its capabilities, repairing systems, sharing knowledge, and even predicting environmental hazards before they could cause damage. Its power was undeniable, but its purpose was benevolent. They understand. Humans lead through wisdom. The galaxy listens. By the end of the meeting, a consensus emerged. The awakened starship, guided by a human, would serve as a stabilizing presence in the galaxy. Conflicts could be mediated, colonies could receive aid, and knowledge could be shared without force. Humans had proven themselves capable of leadership, innovation, and compassion in ways that even the most advanced civilizations respected. Elias watched as the council adjourned, a smile on his face. He knew this was only the beginning. The galaxy was vast, full of challenges, wonders, and possibilities. But now humans had a voice, a presence, and a partner in the form of a colossal starship capable of inspiring hope wherever it went. We journey together. Humanity guides. As the colossal vessel moved on, its lights shining brightly against the dark expanse of space, Elias felt a deep sense of fulfillment. The starship had awakened not only in machinery but in purpose. Humanity, too, had awakened in the eyes of the galaxy. And so they continued their journey, human and starship together, ready to explore, assist, and connect civilizations across the stars. The galaxy would never forget this day.